I'm
Okay,
ready.
we're recording. I'm so excited. This is the first episode in my new apartment.
Look at that backdrop. Stunning.
Yeah, this corner stunning, but meanwhile over here,
Real life.
yes. So we're gonna just turn this way and
It's,
pretend that corner isn't here.
it's beautiful.
Thank you, thank you. But hi everyone, welcome back to the Girls Who Get It podcast. I am Sam.
And I'm Julia.
And if, uh, first of all, apologies for not having an episode the last like 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, we're sorry. Things have been a little hectic. So,
Yes. And I also didn't have internet in this new place until a few days ago.
yeah, it's
And
hard to do this with no internet.
right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I did go live on Instagram last week. So if you missed it, it's saved on our Instagram page. I gave a little sneak peek of my apartment and like what it's looking like so far. And if you're not watching
Yeah.
the video version, you can see a little bit of it behind me. My
The coffee
coffee
bar.
bar. I love it.
I love that there's three different machines.
Yeah, because that's and I technically there's a fourth. I have my little
A fourth.
espresso
Oh,
pot up top for the stove top.
nice.
So,
I just recently got a second coffee pot because I had an espresso and I was like, this is great. But then if you're making coffee for more than one person, or sometimes I even want like two, three cups,
yeah.
like
And
on the
then those,
weekend.
yes, those pods are expensive.
Yeah, you can't go wasting pods. So I found like this coffee pot randomly and I was like, it's been great. I forgot how nice it is.
I know you need
But
to have different options for like, if I want a cappuccino, I got my cappuccino maker. If I want regular drip coffee, if I want my Nespresso, if I want to just make some good old Italian espresso, I got all the
yeah,
options.
you have it all.
So
It's
like no
nice.
need to go to a cafe or go get Starbucks or anything. I got it all here.
No, and Starbucks is getting wildly expensive. So you're saving money too.
Yeah, and like everywhere is getting, even like the local places
Wow.
around here, which I'll tell myself like I'm supporting local business, but like I'm sorry, paying like $8 for a fucking coffee is insane,
It's really bad.
and I
Although
just
I
can't.
I don't know about anyone else. This is my biggest beef of life, maybe. But I always complain about Duncan not being consistent. I'm
Hmm.
surprised this hasn't come up before actually, because I spend a lot of time upset about this.
No, I feel like we have talked about this before.
Okay, we probably have. But you go and you get the same thing, like whatever iced coffee with cream and whatever flavor I want. Should be really easy. And it's either burnt or it's not done right or something is wrong with it.
Or
And
it's
it
just
drives
like
me crazy.
sugared milk.
Yeah, it's just pure sugar. It's just like there's like one drop of flavor where it's not enough. It's half cream. Like they can't get it right. And now you go to Dunkin' and it's like $4. Starbucks used to be $4. Now it's like freaking seven. I think I got an $8 drink there the other day. And I
Well,
was
because
like,
now I feel like they charge you for literally every little thing. Like, oh, you want
anything,
light ice? Costs more money. You
you're
want extra
charged.
ice? Costs money. You want this drink that already comes with a flavored syrup? You want it exactly as is. You just want a different flavored syrup? That costs more money.
I
It's like,
know. They're horrible.
wait, what? Every little thing. It's ridiculous. And you know, I can justify, I mean, not even, but like if it's good at least, and it's like you want to treat
Yeah.
yourself once in a while, fine. I went to a new local place recently and it was very cute there,
Hmm.
but I got an iced shaken espresso.
Mm.
It was literally sugared milk. And I was like, like coffee is not that, and it was like $8. Then, after tip and everything, literally an
Yeah,
$8
yeah, yeah. Because you
fucking
have to tip.
coffee that was like mostly ice anyway. And I'm like, there's not even any coffee in here. Like, what did I just pay for?
It's so you can't, I swear to God, you can't get a good coffee anywhere you go. And Starbucks being expensive,
You can get a good coffee here at
well,
Sam's home coffee bar
at Sam's coffee bar.
where the
But I
coffee
used
is
to
always
think,
strong.
yeah, right? That's the other thing. I used to think Starbucks was good and consistent and they always got it right.
They used to
But
be.
lately, I got like a chai tea latte, actually a dirty chai tea latte. So I was expecting like a couple different flavors. Milk, just milk.
And
I
also $10.
and also $10. So I was like, this is a complete waste of my life.
Oh, not me with the ad placement.
Dirt.
I'll just post
This
it there.
isn't sponsored, by the way. This video isn't sponsored.
It's not,
Get
but they
that thing
gave
out
me
of
this
here.
huge ass cup and it's been great to put my lemon water in.
There you go. Anyway,
Um,
let's get on with it.
yeah, I was gonna like go on a whole rant and vent about annoying shit that happened today, but I'm like, let me not because I feel like this episode is not about our issues and our
No,
drama. It's about
maybe next
yours.
episode.
Yeah, yeah. So we asked you guys like a million years ago at this point
I know. So bad.
to send us in your dilemmas, things that you want some advice on. A Dear Girls Who Get It. And I'm excited. I don't know if you looked at any of them yet, but I purposely didn't.
I also didn't look at any.
Perfect. I love the surprise element. So this message says, what is a personal way of saying, fuck this shit, I don't want to do it anymore? My manager asked me about 2 years ago to help out with this new project. It was stressful, but that good stress that would keep me busy, so I didn't mind. Only downside was I wouldn't be paid extra for doing it. Well, now they have completely changed the process and it is double the workload. Still not being paid to do it though. It has gotten to be way too much on my work plate right now, and with my personal stress, I'm always so tired. What is a professional way to ask my manager to take me off the project and reassign it to someone else or pay me extra? Just like my resting bitch face, I tend to come across sometimes as being too harsh or bitchy when I don't mean to be. Don't want to lose my job, but not sure how much stress I can handle at this point. Thank you in advance for any help. Love you ladies so much. Thanks for sending in your message. I can relate so much to that, especially like the resting bitch face thing.
Yeah, same.
Definitely. Yep. I know. And I'm the same way. Funny side story. I was like dealing with a brand deal situation and they were pissing me the hell off because they sent me like these guidelines. I followed the guidelines exactly. And then they were like, actually, we wanted this, whatever, all this other shit, wanted me to like reshoot it. And I'm like, but this was not in the original like guidelines you sent me. So like if you want me to redo it, I will, but like pay me more then because I followed it, whatever. And so I'm like trying to type out a response and I'm on the phone with Guard because I'm like, he's so much better with words and with being like nice and professional. I should call him up and ask him advice for this one.
Yeah,
But I'm like,
maybe.
I'm reading him what I wrote, and he was like, that is so like aggressive. He was like, maybe word it this way instead.
Yeah.
So I totally can relate to that because I can come off a little harsh.
I have such strong reactions to things, like at first. Like at work, I need to reel it in for real. Um, but I'll get so heated over certain things. There's this there's this one guy at work. He's the same way. I think it's because we're Aries. That's my
Mm-hmm.
theory. But
Mm-hmm.
they'll call him the Badger. They'll be like, "Oh, the Badger's out," because he'll be like, "Ah, like what the heck?" And then the one day I was fired up about something, and my boss goes, "Whoa, Badger Junior, like, gotta relax." And I'm like, it's so hard for me because that's just kind of my personality a little bit. So I kind of struggle with approaching things. I don't want to say I'm not like not professional about it, but not at first. I'm not professional about it at first. My favorite thing to do, I don't know what kind of, does she say what kind of job?
She wasn't specific at all about
like on a
like
project?
what she does. Yeah.
Uh, my favorite thing to do, because a lot of bigger companies, and I'm sure even smaller, I'm just not sure what places do, but we have work instructions, we have job descriptions that list your responsibilities specifically. I would kind of call on that and be like, hey, this is kind of taking up too much of my time. It's not under my normal duties, in my job description. And I'm wondering if there's some way that we can like rework it. I don't, because my initial reaction would be to complain to someone and be like, can you believe they're making me do this shit? Or like, I can't keep doing other people's work, because that's how I react immediately. But then when I take a step back, I could be like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's never a good idea to just react on emotion when
No,
you're, especially in a work setting, which is what
no.
I used to do that. I got a text. That was part of what was stressing me out today. I got a work related text that really pissed me the fuck off. And
Ew.
young me, 20, early 20s, Sam, would have went the fuck off. I have in the past. But I composed myself. I was like, okay, I'll just handle this professionally. But yeah, I think that is great. And I would maybe approach it like, I am very like honored that you wanted me to do this project, that that you wanted to put me on this project, that you trust me enough and think that my work is good enough to handle this. However, I just have a little too much on my plate right now. This is extra work that's, like you said, not part of my standard position and what my salary is paying for. So, is
Right.
there a way that we can kind of like negotiate some terms that we both feel comfortable with that make it more fair?
Yeah, because companies, they'll use and abuse you if, they can.
Yeah. And
Like,
I
oh
mean,
yeah,
it's
here.
right. And it's hard to say, like, without a little more context. Like, I don't know if it's like a big corporate company you work for, in which case, like, they probably don't give a shit about you. Or if it's like a
Right.
smaller company where you can speak up a little more. So, but I mean, I don't think you would get fired for that. I think that that's totally
You shouldn't, just for saying like,
reasonable.
hey, this is a kind of a lot for me and I'm not
It's
getting compensated,
outside,
so
exactly. And it's outside of like what your position is supposed to entail.
yeah. It shouldn't be too far out there to say that and get like a good reaction, but I don't know. In this world these days, it's like kind of crazy. So,
Yeah, but you definitely should speak up and say something, because if you just continue overworking yourself, and like all that's going to happen is you're going to feel more resentful towards your job and your company, and you're going to get to a
yeah.
point where you just break and flip out and
Yeah.
end up storming
Actually,
out.
now that I think of it, a similar thing happened to me. I was kind of I was doing like my normal job, my normal work, or I was trying to. And then on top of that, we had all these new people that had started. And I mean like three new people that all needed to be shown how to do things. I had been there the longest, so it just kind of fell to me to be showing them. And I really saw that like my own work, like I would forget things and I would, you know, my own work was, I'm blanking on like the way to say this, compromised because
Hmm.
I was pulled in different directions and I was kind of distracted, honestly. So, and I wasn't getting paid for training all these new people, which was fun. And I did bring it up to management. I was like, it's kind of a lot and I don't know why I'm doing it because I wasn't even I sh I was not the proper person to do it. But it can definitely affect your own work. And then you're kind of like giving half of your, if you're like me, I was kind of half-assing like both because I'm trying to
Right.
do both.
Right.
And
You can't give a
you
hundred
can't.
percent to, yeah, everything.
No, you can't do it all. So I would hope they could understand that. I mean, the
Right,
quality
because
of work.
that's affecting them.
Right, of course.
Right. And
Maybe you're
also
nothing like
then,
me, but and you can keep up with both, but
but even still, like, yeah, and then you're just going to be stressed, and then that's going to spill into your home life. And it's just like, it's not worth it. It's not healthy. Like, we should not be killing ourselves for jobs that will
no.
literally replace us in a heartbeat. I wish I was better at coming up with like specific phrases on the spot like that. But that's
Yeah.
something I would like have to sit and brainstorm.
I know. Oh my God, I would type it out. If it's an email, I sit there and I will type out an email and then I'll go back through and read it and then I'll change the whole, it's like whatever I write out first is a draft. And then I read it out loud to my other coworkers and I'm like, how does this sound? And then I finally send it. So
Yeah,
something like that
exactly.
I would
Exactly.
also like workshop.
It's interesting. I wonder a lot. I've always thought this, like asserting yourself in a professional setting. I and I don't mean to get like all, bringing sexism and all that into this, but like I don't I don't think that men sit around and worry about that. Like, oh, do I sound too bitchy? Does that sound mean? Am I
I
being too
know.
aggressive?
I agree. Actually, my friend and I, when we were sending, she and I worked together for like about a year, and we would send these emails and we'd be like, we should write more like men. Men will send you emails, men in our industry, I'm sure men everywhere, but we work with a lot of men. And they'll send emails, they won't even put hello, they won't even put your name, they'll just say what they want to say and nothing else. I'm like, this
I
is
know.
not a
And I'm
Teams
sitting there,
message.
I'm sitting there typing out emails and I'm like, did I put too many exclamation points? Did I not put enough exclamation points? Should I put a smiley face? Would that be
I
unprofessional?
know.
I want them to know that I have a friendly tone.
I know. I'm like, good morning, whatever their name is. Can you please provide blah 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 blah. Thank you so much. Please let me know if you have any questions! Exclamation point. I've kind of stopped doing that just because it doesn't seem like people care all that much. If it's like a
Yeah,
Teams message, like a direct message, that's a little bit different. But in an email, I'll be like, I'm typing like a man. I'll be like, we're gonna need this. Thanks.
I've been doing
No
the same thing.
explanation.
I've been doing the same thing, like just not over complicating it with the greetings and the, you know,
Yeah, there's
closings
no,
and all
I don't
the
know. I don't know if there's a point, or if people just look at you like, oh my God, okay. But anyway, moving on. I
yes,
have our
what's the
next
next
one,
one?
and she left us a little note at the top, so I'll read that too. She goes, hi, I've been listening to your podcast since the start, which we so appreciate.
Yeah,
I've
thank
been
you.
following Sam before beauty school, and I love that we've gotten to know Julia on the pod. I love that both of you bring different takes based on your own individual personal experiences. My question is, what are your thoughts on having sex during the dating period? When I skimmed that, I thought she was talking about sex on your period. So my response now is different. When is it too soon, or is it, to be intimate with someone you've recently started seeing? And do you think men lose interest after sex?
I love this question.
Me too. I don't want to say I have like a lot of experience with this, but I probably have more than some. And to be honest, I think it mostly depends on the man. and what they're looking for and where they're at in their life.
Mm-hmm.
But with that in mind, I do think some men, not all by any means, but some might be like, oh, I can sleep with her like within a date or two. That's not the, I don't know, like if they see, how do I say this? That as just like,
There's nothing to work for.
yeah, and then like they'll just kind of use you until like if it's so available to them, then yeah, there's nothing to work for, and they're like, okay, whatever. And I don't think like there's a couple, not a couple. The Love Bomber was like that for sure, where it was like it was, and it started as casual anyway, so like whatever, but he didn't have to really do anything and put any effort in, and he was never really gonna. And then he was like, ah, moving on. Like I think some guys are just like that, and that's
Mm-hmm.
them. But other guys, I mean, I don't think it matters.
That's what I was gonna say, because I this is a question that I find so fascinating, and I have talked to so many different men about this,
Yeah,
and pretty much everyone says the same thing. If you sleep with a guy right away and then he loses interest, he was going to lose interest in you no matter what. It doesn't
right,
matter when you slept with them, if you slept with them at all. Like, it was never going to go anywhere anyway.
right. I believe
So,
that.
because like we both, like, I mean, my boyfriend now, God, we've been through a lot. It's been a lot of years in the
Right,
friggin' making. And I slept with him right away. And there was, he didn't lose interest. Like, we were like infatuated with each other from day one. Like, it didn't change anything.
right.
But it really just depends on the guy. And that's not to say, like, because I'm pretty sure he's done that where like he was messing around with someone else, slept with them, lost interest, whatever. It really, I feel like there's not, it's totally out of your control. It just
Right.
depends on the guy and where they're at in life and if it's the right fit or not. And I don't, it doesn't matter. And honestly, like if you feel comfortable and that's what you want to do, then go for it. As long as, you're being safe, who cares? Like, don't worry
I
about
agree.
what is too soon or whatever, what society might think or what your friends might think. Like, who cares?
I also wonder if men even think about that at all. Like, oh, she's gonna think less of me if I go for it the first date.
Absolutely not.
No. Like, no. And it really, like, now that you said it kind of depends on the situation. I was thinking of when I saw somebody I was seeing on the Facebook thing where it was like, are we dating the same guy?
Mm,
And these girls were in there like, I mean, he was the worst, so they had that right. But someone was like, oh, we went on one date. He came home with me and he blocked me and I never heard from him again. And another one was like, oh, he'll call you every other day. And but he never texts and he never answers a Snapchat or like stuff like that. But then in my experience, I was getting daily phone calls and I was getting texts all the time and I was getting Snapchats all the time that he always responded to and like there's no rhyme or reason like that you can pinpoint. It's just them. Like they're
mm-hmm.
gonna do what they're gonna do, and there's no way for us to know how that's gonna go. I mean, like you said, like you didn't wait long to be intimate with Guard. I also didn't, and things are fine. It really just depends on the guy and
And
what time they're
also,
in.
it's not like there's anything special about me because I've been with other people right away and never fucking heard from them again.
No, exactly. Oh, exactly.
So it's really just out of your control. And also, I feel like there's so many books that are like, oh, how to make any man fall in love with you or how to play the game right or how to do it. Like, no, first of all, if you have to be doing shit like that and like manipulating people into falling for you and respecting you or
No,
whatever, like that's just fucking weird. You shouldn't have to do that. It's not genuine. I don't feel like that's going to lead into like a good, healthy, lasting relationship.
I agree.
If it's right
I've
and you're the right people for each other, it will just work out.
yeah.
Whether you sleep together right
I
away or not.
I just think in general, like there should be no game. It shouldn't be like it feels like a game to be like, well, I have to wait 78 hours to sleep with them or else they're not going to take me seriously or like I have to do this in order like that doesn't I don't think
Exactly.
that's normal, but it feels so normal in like our dating world because it's really simple. It's like if somebody likes you, you will know. And if you have to like wonder or if they're like being weird, then chances are
Right.
they
And
don't
like the
like you
guys
that
that are
much.
only treating you well and only putting an effort because they're trying to sleep with you, by you prolonging that and waiting and putting it off, like you're just getting fake effort and fake behavior. And then as soon as you sleep with them, even if it's months after meeting, they're probably going to end up ghosting you anyway. Like, so why you
Yeah.
don't want those people? Honestly, I think the sooner you get it out of the way, A, you know, if the chemistry is there and you know what you're dealing with. And B, you
Yeah.
know, like if they end up sticking around after, you know, like, okay, like this could actually be a decent person. Let's see if like we're right for each other.
I agree. I really don't think it matters.
Yeah, I don't either, but on it, like I feel like if anything, do it sooner rather than later.
I
If you
yeah,
feel
don't waste your
comfortable.
time.
Yeah,
Don't
like if
waste
you
your
feel
time.
comfortable. If the timing feels right, do it.
Yeah, why not? Men aren't out there being like, "Oh no, I can't get with her." They're definitely not. I've been watching Love is Blind season 6.
Me too.
Have you? I have. Okay, great. We're gonna have to discuss it like once I'm all the way caught up. But a lot of men are just dogs, so it doesn't really matter, I don't think. I'm I'm shook
It's
by this
true.
season. So far, it's kind of been spoiled for me a little bit, so I'm not even into like the honeymoon where they all are on vacation yet. So they're still in the pods. And I just know of some things that happen and I'm like,
Mhm.
these men, I can't.
I know. I've been skipping around a little bit. I always find the pods part boring.
I know, it's boring and they like miss so much of it anyway, so like I don't really know if I care to watch all of it. Because the
Right.
people, you're like, wait, how are you guys a couple? I didn't see you talk at all, you know?
Right. Or then there'll be other people that you see in the background, and it's like, wait, where were their
Who,
dates?
yeah,
Like, who is
like
that?
who is that? I
Yeah.
know. So I can't wait to get into that later.
Yeah. I think actually today, I think they released more episodes.
Oh, good. I can binge this
So,
weekend.
yes, we'll get caught up and then we can talk about it next week because it
Perfect.
it's a good season. I haven't watched the last few because they just seemed boring. Like since
Yeah.
the Shake season, I feel like was the last like good
Yeah.
one.
I know. I agree. I didn't watch the last. I don't think I watched 4 or 5.
Yeah, me neither. It'll be fun to dissect that. Okay, let's do our next message. This one says, "Hey ladies, give me some advice. This is about some mother-in-law and sister-in-law drama.
Ooh.
So early December, I gave birth to my son. Going into every detail would take ages, but basically, mother in law has always used guilt tactics and plays victim in literally every interaction I've had with her. She has a lot of health issues, which I have always deeply sympathized with as I am an empath and quite sensitive. But it gets to the point of her emotionally abusing her family, and it has been enabled for years. My boyfriend, we are engaged, and yes, he is the father of my child, gets extremely drained talking to her. Him and the rest of the family have begged her to get help, and she refuses. I am also a victim of childhood abuse and just cannot tolerate her on so many levels. Now she feels entitled to babysit our son and be a grandma. And because we have to supervise her holding him due to her health issues, she has been crying to the rest of the family, saying that we're taking away her chance to be a grandma, which isn't true. She can hold our son as long as she wants, within reason, of course. But the only rule we have for her is to have either myself or my boyfriend sit beside her in case her arms give out. The last time she was over, she was readjusting her seating position and our sleeping son started falling forward. So my boyfriend just gently put his hand on him to keep him from completely falling. And his mom said, "I've got it," with quite the tone in her voice. It's like, if you can't respect one simple rule for our child's safety, then you cannot hold him at all. Since then, I haven't spoken to her, and my boyfriend barely talks to her in general because of her emotional abuse. Now, sister in law is talking crap about us to the rest of the family, saying we aren't being fair to her mom, and it seems the family is just being divided. In my opinion, it's toxic, and I don't really want anything to do with it, but I can see how much hurt my boyfriend is experiencing. It isn't fair what he has and continues to go through with his family, particularly mom and sister. Would you go no contact with either mother-in-law or sister-in-law? If so, how would you go about it if you were in my shoes? Or would you try a different approach? I did try talking to sister-in-law, but she turned it around on me and made it all worse. I'm scared talking to mother-in-law will also make everything much worse due to her emotional maturity level. What would you all do? LOL, love you guys. Keep up the awesome podcasting. Thank you.
I feel like there's so much I could say. I feel like my sister recently had my nieces, and so I could like witness uh this stuff just from her. I think babies and weddings bring out the worst in people in a way that like you don't even consider. Like suddenly, especially for babies, everybody else around you seems to feel a certain entitlement to your baby.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I'm a grandparent, but I'm this, but I'm that. Oh, oh, hold on. You had your chance. You were the parent once, and now you are not the parent. So there are boundaries that you have to respect, and if you don't respect them, then there are probably going to be consequences or repercussions or however you want to say it. Like, it blows my mind that people act that way. I would hope that, I hope that my sister, I hope I respect all her boundaries, and I hope that she doesn't think I overstep or whatever. I try to just do everything they do with the girls. I ask before I do certain things. Like, if it's not your own kid, you
Mm-hmm.
do not have the right to really make any decision at all unless somebody says, hey, yeah, you can do whatever, which I don't even know really happens. It just amazes me that people go there. If I were you, I feel like I can kind of relate to this just from all that, but you have to you also matter and your feelings also matter. And if it's stressful for you or distressful to you to be around her or to interact with her, I don't see a problem with taking a step back. You've explained to her like your boundaries and what you expect from them. She has ignored that, and I don't know what she expects. It's like one of those things, well, I'm the grandparent, so I get to do this. No, you don't.
Right.
I'm sorry. You don't. And you can either respect the boundaries that are set, or maybe you don't see your grandkid. Maybe you don't see, I don't know. But people just walk all over you, or they're like, the thing that bugs me the most is like holding babies, or people kiss babies, or whatever. Like, you can't do those things if the parent isn't comfortable with it. You can't. It'll
Right.
never, I
It's
could go on and on.
I feel like it would be a different situation if like this was, a logical thinking person. But it just
Right.
sounds like from all of the history, because I know people that are like this, where it's like
Me too.
they are such narcissists. Everything has to be woe is me, and they always have to get their way. And if they don't, they'll throw a fit and act
Yeah.
like get all emotional and start crying and shit like that. It's like, oh please, like
And everything's about them. It's
yes, and
about
I feel
them.
like people like that, you cannot reason with them, and it's
No.
literally you have two options. It's either it goes completely her way and you do everything to appease what she wants, and you have to just ignore what, any logic or what you feel comfortable
And
with,
your own, yeah.
or you just say no more and cut that person out of your life, or set boundaries and stick to those boundaries. And if she wants to respect the boundary, great. If she doesn't, goodbye, you can stay over there.
Yeah.
But I get that it's, I'm sure, very tough for the boyfriend, because it's like that's his biological family. And it's like, as much as that's toxic and it's stressful and you don't want to deal with it, like it's also hard to just cut off your family completely.
Right.
And like, I'm sure, even though it's probably exhausting when you roll your eyes seeing your mother upset, 'cause it's like, here she goes, like doing her manipulative shit again. But also, like,
Yeah.
it's hard to see your mother be upset.
Yeah.
So, God, I can only imagine how hard that probably is. But I think, like, I mean, yeah, if I were in her shoes, I would just personally, because I just do not have any, I can't tolerate that shit. I would just be like, goodbye. Fuck
Well,
you.
how
Like,
how old did she say the baby was?
she said the baby
Did
was
she
born in
say?
early December.
That's a
So it's
little baby.
it's a
Like
fresh baby.
you're adjusting to having a new baby and then that on top of it, I'm sorry. I would be like you need to leave me alone for a while and like maybe we can revisit this, but you shouldn't have to make yourself uncomfortable. I mean, I can imagine it's already kind of maybe not uncomfortable, but it's a lot. And then to have to worry about her feelings is selfish for her, to be honest. I think it's like it's selfish for her to be
Yeah.
like, I can't hold my grandkid. Like if the parents don't feel safe with someone holding the kid,
Well, it's not even like they're not letting her. They are letting
right.
her, but they
So
just
like
wanna
stop
stand
complaining.
by.
I would be the
Right,
same way.
yeah. I mean, the parents are completely reasonable, if you like,
Yeah, I
very,
would have
very
to be
reasonable
like
and fair.
I
But
would have to draw the line and be like,
I think it's just a conversation that you and your partner need to have. And
yeah,
like, what does he want to do? What do you guys both feel comfortable with? And I wouldn't worry, like, her going around and, the sister-in-law talking crap about you guys. Who
right,
cares? Honestly, who gives a fuck what, what she's saying and what other people think? Like, let them hate you all they want. If that's how they feel, like,
right. Because
what,
it
who
sounds like
cares?
you're the reasonable one, and the fact that they're putting a new mother through this is like come on.
It's insane. It
That's
really is
exactly what you
crazy.
wanna deal with when you don't have much sleep and you're like this whole new life. You wanna deal with that on top of it. Yeah,
Yeah, adjusting to
definitely.
this huge life change. It's really, they're not at all taking your feelings into account. It's
No, so
very,
why should
very
you
selfish.
yeah, why should you take theirs into consideration if they just are completely ignoring your boundaries and your
Right.
thoughts and feelings? Like, if you can work it out where you can, like, take a step back, that's what I would do, to be honest.
And it
There's
just
no
sounds
need.
like, with the, childhood trauma and all that, it sounds like there's so much shit. Like, that whole family, it sounds like, needs a lot of therapy to even
Yeah,
begin to smooth things out. And it's like,
yeah,
it's just a lot. And I wouldn't put all that weight on your shoulders. Just focus on you and your baby.
yeah. They're
And
adults too. Like they can sort out their own emotions and feelings and like I can kind of relate to this and I would step back. I'd be like, "No, you're done. I tried and you're done." And I hope that works out for you. Hopefully you can be comfortable, you know?
it's tough when it's family because if it's just
Yeah.
like a friend or, something, it's like, okay, fuck you.
Yeah, get out of here, but yeah, family's tough. Next up, dear girls who get it. I need advice. So I have this girlfriend of a few years, and she has always been kind of flaky, even when she's the one making the plans. How do you guys handle flaky friends? I get everyone is busy and has their own lives, but I just cannot justify ghosting friends after making plans to meet up. Am I being dramatic? I think
Well,
not.
I was gonna say, as the flaky friend myself,
Oh my god.
um, I listen, I totally get it because I do this a lot and I don't like to, I don't mean to, but here's the thing. I am and I don't know what the deal is with like this friend, but personally, and maybe,
Mhm.
she's also it's the same kind of thing. I am very introverted naturally, and I get overly stimulated, and my social battery runs out very easily. Sometimes when I'm in the moment, I will make these plans or I will agree to plans because in the moment I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. I would love to do that. Totally.
Mm.
And then the time comes and I'm like, oh my God, I do not want to leave my house right now. I
Yeah.
just don't have the energy and like the mental capacity. And I'll get like kind of anxious
Mhm.
about leaving the house. And then I feel so bad because I'm like, I need to stop making plans if I'm not gonna stick to them, and I hate being flaky, but it just
But
I
you're
don't
just
know.
flaky.
I just am, yes, and that's just what it is. It's like in the moment you make the plan and you think it's gonna be great and you're gonna wanna do it, and then the time comes and you don't, and you panic and you feel
Yeah.
bad about being flaky. So then you're just like, oh, hopefully they just forgot or they won't mind or I'm just gonna not say
Mm,
anything and hope that they forgot.
I feel like if there's communication, I probably don't care if they're like, "Hey, I know we had these plans," but even if they're just like, "I don't feel like it," fine, as long as it's communicated within a reasonable amount of time. Like the one time my friend Maddie and we had gone out and then we were like, "Let's go to the farmer's market the next morning." Well, we had gone out and gotten like a little more drunk than we expected, and we were both in bed, like hungover the next morning. So we're texting and we're like, farmer's market, like in an hour? And I was like, yeah, like I guess I'm kind of dying. And she was like, I'm dying too. And then it was just like a mutual like flake, I guess, or just like forget it. You can't do it. But like if I'm literally getting ready to go out with you and you're like, oh, and it's like 15 minutes till I would be leaving, I'd probably be annoyed. I'd be like, what the fuck? What am I supposed to do now?
Yeah. I think
Or
I'm more likely to do it if it's like group plans because I'm like, okay, well, if I just don't show up, everybody else is still gonna
no big
go and
deal.
like
Yeah.
have a good time. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But even when it's one on one, I still do it sometimes.
If it's like one on one, I'll be like,
Because here's the thing too, like sometimes I'll know I'm like, okay, I have plans tonight at 7. I'm supposed to go to dinner, and I'm like, I really don't want to, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna force myself, and like I'm all day. I'm just thinking about it, and then it's like around the time when I should be starting to get ready, and I'm just like, oh my god, I just really don't want to fucking
I
go. And then that's how
f-
it ends up being like a last minute bail.
I feel like I'm not as introverted as I thought because if I have dinner plans, I kind of don't do that much like in a normal week anyway. Like it's kind of I don't make many plans, but if I have like my friends and I were talking about going to dinner in a couple weeks and I'm already like, all right, where are we gonna go? And maybe it's because I'm like food motivated. I'll be like, what are we eating? Like,
Yeah. Well,
what's
and but
there gonna
sometimes
be?
sometimes I do get really excited and I'll be like looking forward to it all week and then it's like it's great. But then sometimes I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's I
I
just
feel
don't
like
want to leave the
it's
house sometimes.
I understand. I think this it seems like she must not communicate. Yeah, because it says I can't justify ghosting friends after making plans. Also, if you make the plans with me and then you just like aren't responding to me, I probably wouldn't ever agree to make plans with you again. I'd be like, "Are you
Yeah.
sure? How about you tell me like," and then if I make plans like in the event that you ghost and you don't ghost, like I don't know.
Right.
I would probably
That's
just take
true.
her making plans as like
Like
a
that's not actually
25
gonna
per like
happen.
that's not gonna happen. And then
Yeah, I think ghosting, like just bailing on plans then ghosting is not cool,
no,
obviously. And I
that's
don't
not
think I do
fair.
that, but I can relate to like the anxiety of just like backing out and then feeling bad about it and then it being
Right.
like, I don't know. It's all I think it's
I
all anxiety related.
probably for most people. Some people probably just don't care also. They'll be like, "Oh, something
That's true
better came up. I'm just
too.
gonna ghost."
That's true too. I mean, I don't wanna give her benefit of the doubt. She could just be a shitty friend.
Could
Uh,
be.
but I
I
always
don't
like I feel like with friendships is you always got to evaluate. And I think that it's you can have like your good friends that you feel like you can always count on for everything, like they are family to you, they are your rocks. And then you have other friends that you kind of keep at an arm's distance and it's like they're good for certain moments, certain things, but you
right.
can't
Certain
necessarily rely on them for everything.
yeah, I agree.
So you got to
I don't
evaluate
think
like is she a good friend? Like yes, maybe she's flaky when it comes to making plans, but is she a good friend in other aspects? You know?
right.
In which case then keep her around, but maybe like don't try to make plans with her.
Right. Like
You know?
I don't think she's being dramatic though. I wouldn't say that's dramatic. I would be annoyed too. I'd be like, stop making plans with me if you are never gonna
No, it
go
is
through.
annoying though. Like it's inconsiderate of your time. I mean, it's like the same thing if you're making an appointment for something and then you just no
Right.
like, that's fucking
Yeah,
inconsiderate. So,
I totally agree. Oh, that always bugs me too, like people being inconsiderate.
all right, next one. I've been in a relationship for almost 8 years. We've been engaged for almost three. We moved across the country to start a new life about 2 years ago with our two dogs. Over the past year or so, I've been starting to get a little weary about us. He suffers with depression and anxiety, but due to finances and lack of insurance, he hasn't been able to get ahead of it, and he has been using me as a crutch and dragging me down in a sense. I've always been his main support system, and he has an incredibly broken family. He lost his mom 2 years ago, right before we moved as well, so he is overall struggling. We haven't had sex in months, and I ended things with him back in August, but he begged me to work it out with him. My heart is not in this anymore, and I'm struggling with how to express that to him without sending him in a bigger spiral. I also can't afford to live on my own at the moment, so that's another thing stopping me from ending this. I feel so insanely stuck and frustrated.
Mm,
Oh, girl,
that is tough.
that's a lot, but also I can relate.
Moving across the country is sometimes I think about that like when I moved, I didn't move across the country by any means. I moved 3 hours away. But I think about it like I'm starting a life here and if I would have to go back home like how? Like how do you do that? Like before I bought my house, I was like, okay, this is like permanent, so if things don't work out up here, like that's kind of something you have to deal with. So that
I mean,
alone
even the
is
logistics
difficult.
of it, like, it's expensive.
It's so expensive, especially on your own now, like
8 years is a long time to walk away, but my first serious relationship was almost 8 years as well,
mhm,
and that's hard. That's real
yeah,
hard, and I totally understand the guilt of you just feel so over it, but, like, you don't wanna break this person's heart, and you don't wanna leave them when they're, like, at a really low point and struggling,
right.
and they need a support system, and you're kind of all they have, and it's like you kinda need him in a way too as a roommate.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard because,
Oh.
like, if you feel he's dragging you down, I mean, that's not a good situation for either of you, and I do believe in putting yourself first in some aspects.
Well, no, you have to put
Um,
yourself first because how can you show up to the relationship and be, like, a good supportive partner if you're not like, you can't
you
pour from an
can't.
empty cup, like they
Yeah,
say.
you can't. You still have to take care of yourself.
I feel like that's sort of similar. I mean, obviously, we didn't have the whole, like, moving across the country aspect, but even, like, my situation with guard, I mean, that's why we broke up and why I chose to leave because it was kind of a similar thing where I mean, we both kinda had our own issues, but he was going through a phase where he was, like, really lost and going through mental health things and trying to figure it out, and it was like, I kind of felt the same way, like, I felt like I was trying to like, all of my energy was getting drained, and I was trying to be
Yeah,
supportive, although I wasn't being the most supportive, like, I was kind of an asshole, and, so, like, there were I had my own part in it, but also, it's hard when you have someone that's, like, going through something and they're not doing anything to help themselves, and you feel like
yeah,
you can't do anything to help them, and it's like, "Well, now what? Like, we're just gonna be stuck in this rut, like, I can't live my life like this, like, you need to do
yeah,
something and, like, pull yourself out of this." So for me, the answer was leaving and
yeah,
ending things, and it was really fucking hard because it's really horrible to see like, when you already feel sad and emotional about something, and then to see this person that you care about so much also, like, an emotional wreck,
yeah.
it's hard to do that, but
I feel like you can't I feel like a lot of people get in these situations where maybe one partner is going through it and the other isn't so much, and it can definitely change. I mean, 8 years, there's ups and downs, but there's nothing you can do for somebody that they like if they're not doing it for themselves,
mhm.
that doesn't mean that you need to like try to do it. You can't do it for them. They have to want to do it themselves. And I know she says lack of insurance and finances, which I understand. I was trying to get back into therapy last year, and I did oh, what's it called? BetterHelp. I think we've mentioned this before, but like I got on BetterHelp. That costs money.
Mhm.
I also didn't like that form of therapy. I don't like to do it online. That's another story, but like then there's cerebral, that also costs money. It costs money to, go like it's hard because mental health isn't as like I don't think it's seen as something that's important to maintain good mental health or oh well that's gonna be on the back burner because I have stuff to pay for, and it's easy to do that because you can manage, but when you can't,
Well, and
then
it's expensive, and if you
it
'cause
is.
when I was trying to start therapy, at the time, I was on, like, state insurance,
Mhm.
and there were some therapists in the area that took that insurance, very few. But
Right.
then the ones that did were so overbooked that they couldn't get me in. I couldn't get an appointment.
Right.
So it's really hard.
You can't sit in it, you know what I mean? I was in a horrible place last year, and it was very difficult, and I a lot of the days would just, like, sit in it and be like, "This is so horrible, everything sucks," like, all the stuff. Depressed, anxiety, all of it. But if you don't do anything for yourself, it's not gonna get better, so it's, like, not up to her to help him past what I'm sure she's already done, but as far as what she should do, if you
I
know
know
your heart's not in it.
it's so tricky because of the whole aspect of, like, you not being able to afford it, but I mean, you can look and find a roommate if you need to, find a
Yeah.
girl to live with.
You can't help him if he doesn't wanna help himself also, so
Exactly, and I almost feel like when you're going through something like that, and maybe I'm just, like, a tough love kind of person, but I feel like you need a wake-up call to, like, force you to snap the fuck out of it, and I think when you have someone there that's, like, your comfort and your safety net, it's almost enabling you to just stay stuck.
yeah, I could see that for sure.
And I
I
mean,
think
in
it
my own personal situation, like, that was the case, and me ultimately leaving and kind of, like, creating this big disruption is what
yeah,
helped everything finally, like, get the wheels turning again.
yeah.
So,
I don't know, I think if she's saying her heart isn't in it, I feel like it's not fair for either of them, you know?
yeah, that's very true.
It's
Right? Because
definitely
like, you
not
don't
fair to her, and if you're
and
just kinda
he's with someone that's, like, not even
yeah.
feeling it anymore. Yeah,
It's
it's
really
true.
hard though, that's a long time, and I'm sure you were engaged, or you've been engaged, so you obviously thought and planned a future together.
Yeah, God, it's
Um,
so sad, and, like, no matter what, I wish there was, like, an easy answer, like, "Oh, do this and
yeah,
everything will
and
be
then
better
yeah,
and it'll be fine," but, like, no
right,
matter what, this is gonna be really fucking hard and really sad and
yeah,
emotionally difficult, but you gotta, like, put yourself first at the end of the day and just
yeah.
do what you gotta do.
I also like, my dad's always I can think 10 years into the future and be like, "Oh, no, this is gonna happen," or, "This is gonna affect this person," or whatever, and a lot of the time he's just like, "One day at a time. You don't know what the next year is gonna bring, you don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, you don't know anything really about the future, so you making a decision right now doesn't necessarily mean it's the end. You could remain friends, you never know." So,
True.
yeah, I
True.
find myself focusing a lot on, like, future things, and I have to be like, "Okay, chill. You
Right,
can
it's like,
only do so
what's
much."
the short-term solution for,
Yeah,
like, right now? Don't get caught up, yeah,
like,
on the
yeah,
future.
you have to do what's best for yourself in, like, today, not, "Oh, but this'll trigger this, and this'll happen, and if I do this," and there's no sense, there's really no telling what will happen tomorrow, so
Mhm. Oh, I really feel for you, though,
that's really tough.
I hate that so much, like, that's I think one of the worst feelings is breakups in general, like, every aspect of it.
But I wish you the best.
I do too, and please keep us updated because everyone that wrote in, I'd love updates,
Yeah, me too. We'll be looking for them.
but we are running out of time, so that is gonna be the last one, but did we have more?
I'm not sure.
Well, if we did, or if you guys wanna send in some more, I would love to do another one of these. This was really
Yeah,
fun.
let us know if you liked this kind of episode. Maybe next time we'll just vent about our own stuff. But
And we got to talk about Love is Blind next time.
oh my gosh, I'll be ready next week for sure. I'll be caught
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, let us know. Comment down below or reach out to us on Instagram. Let us know if you're watching this season and like what are your thoughts, and we'll include
Please.
your comments.
I just want to put this out there. I don't know if I'm a fan of Jessica. I know everyone thinks she's hotter than Chelsea or whatever. I don't know if I'm a fan. And I'm also not sure how I feel about Clay. And also, I know that Jimmy ends up being an asshole based on some spoilers. I don't like him either. Anyway, we'll discuss this in a later
Yeah,
episode.
yes. So much to discuss about it. But thank you
Yeah.
guys so much for listening, watching. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you next Friday with a new episode.
You too.